Next, I want to introduce Angela Pennefather, who is a multicultural girl. She's Australian and Papua New Guinean, born in Papua New Guinea, and she speaks Neo-Melanesian languages. And you know, this is where we're entering a new adventurous world out there with cruising in the Papua New Guinea region. So handing over to Angela. Thanks a lot.
Hi everyone, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you, Susie, for my introduction. I am going to give you a quick introduction of what to expect if you come and visit us in PNG. PNG is a nation of nations, I always say, because even though we are one country, we're made up of about 850 little countries within it. One thing that I want to get straight off the bat, you know, we've had these amazing presentations from New Zealand and Australia, and one of the wonderful things about the region is that we all have something different to offer. Now, once you've finished doing all your refits and you've eaten all your oysters and you're ready to cruise on, come and see us in PNG. We offer something that's a little bit different to that, but equally unique. So I'm going to head straight into it, onto our first slide, Nick. Which is to explain where Papua New Guinea is. I don't want to assume you all know where it is. So we are located due north of Australia on the island of New Guinea, which we share with Indonesia to our west. And so technically they're our closest neighbour. Australia and New Guinea are separated by about 6 nautical miles. Then we have Solomon Islands to the east and Micronesia to the north. So we are almost on the equator. Yeah, right slap bang, there it is. On our next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about what people, just a general overview, what people expect to see or what they know about it. PNG is the most linguistically diverse country on the planet. Why is that important? And this goes to cultural diversity. We have a population of 8 million people and 850 languages. And I'm not talking dialects, I'm talking languages. So if you think about how that translates to your yachting, it means that it doesn't matter what anchorage you're in today, you would be, it would be unwise to assume that whatever the cultural norms or protocols are for this, today's village would be assumed for the next one. It really is a nation of nations. We're a former British colony, so that gives you an idea of governance, but it also means that most people, if they don't speak English, they understand English. We are on the Pacific Ring of Fire, so you will see that evidenced in the landscape, in volcanoes, in geothermal hot springs. You'll also, you know, underwater, and that combined with our location geographically close to the equator means that we are part of the Coral Triangle and our marine life is exceptional. So we also considered a world-class diving mecca. For those people that are into birds, and that makes up 70% of Papua New Guinea's tourism, we have 38 of the 42 species of bird paradise. So if that's your thing, then please, by all means, come and see us. But I think the biggest thing about PNG that comes to people's minds is the iconic tribes. So some of these images on your screen at the moment, people think of the Huli Wigman, the guy with the yellow face, or the Balawan bride with the red face. That is really the point of difference, and this is what sets us apart from a lot of other cruising destinations. We are considered an anthropological mecca. And you will see that whether you stay on your vessel and you're just doing the outer atolls, or whether you decide to do something more adventurous and come inland for a couple of days. It is truly the last frontier. And I mention this because how this translates to your yachting experience is you can basically decide when people come to visit us, they can decide whether they would like an amazing experience at sea with just beautiful beaches and cruising grounds, or whether they'd like to try something a bit more adventurous and come into the mountains. But onwards to the next slide, please, Nick. Okay, so let's dive into the country a little bit closer, this is a map of the country that we've just highlighted the main cruising grounds. We have 3 main cruising grounds in my personal humble opinion. We have Milne Bay and Trobriand Islands, which is far east, and on your screen it's on the south. You can go there for exceptional diving. Coral diversity is as good as the Great Barrier Reef, and a lot of culture, but very much focused on marine. In the middle of the map there, you've got New Britain, New Ireland, slap bang in the middle of the Ring of Fire, lots of volcanic action. Again, big pelagics if you like diving, volcanoes, hiking, birds. And then if you go to the west, as you travel towards Indonesia, we have Manus, but the Sepik region, which is the river region. And I've also highlighted on the map the Highlands region on the main island. While we can't go there by boat, this is part of our onshore excursions, and I'll talk more about that towards the end of my slideshow. But in my experience, most people that come to the country, if they decide to take the trip inland to the Highlands, that's usually the highlight of their experience. Okay, so let's go to our next slides. The first thing that most captains ask me about when they come into Papua New Guinea is anchorages. We have no shortage of amazing anchorages. We have over 600 islands. We are still considered, how do I say this, the Wild West of the Pacific. We're not as heavily regulated as other countries, but we have this combination of the volcanoes, the main, the small atolls, and also just rugged coastline. So in this particular image, you can see Modi Bava 2, and she's 100 meters. She's anchored inside a dormant volcano. Our next image shows a small island, as Endless Summer. Again, numerous islands like this around the country. Our very next image shows an anchorage, which is not, again, very common, which is just a stern to beach anchorage somewhere where the sand just drops off to about 50 meters in the space of about 50 meters. And then our final slideshow, which I think is Suri. And this is a very common one, which is that a nice small bay on a rugged coastline, and, umpteen of these. My point is there's lots of amazing anchorages. What they all have in common is that there's nobody else there. And that is one of our big sort of, that's something that we're very proud of. You can come and visit PNG, and you can be 99% sure that no other vessel is going to show up. I think in the last 10 years, I've been at 2 anchorages where vessels showed up, and that was because the owners had friends on other vessels and they wanted to rendezvous. But that is really one of the magic things, not just about Papua New Guinea, but about the Pacific in general. We are the place that you go to get away from it all. So there's that. Okay, what to do? Scuba diving is one of the main things that people show interest in. So I think next slide, we have, as I mentioned earlier, if you're into marine life, we have exceptional coral and marine life. But the other thing that we have is that we have historical diving as well. Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands and Micronesia, this whole region was the center of the Pacific theater in World War II. And you don't have to go too far to find that. So if you're into that, and a lot of our clients tend to be American owners, and so they have some kind of family tie or historical connection to the war, that's always a big talking point. And you don't have to go too far, like I said, to find it. Scuba diving, yes, but we can also find that on land. So it's not, this next slide shows a hike that we might do. People bring sometimes their metal detectors, and we might, here's a wonderful picture of us hiking 10 kilometers in search of a waterfall, actually, this particular waterfall. But along the way, we brought our metal detectors and we found all sorts of shrapnel and World War II relics. And that's something that a lot of people find a strong connection with. So yes, in addition to the anchorages, we have fantastic hikes, not just places where They don't have to be mountains. They can be as simple as beach hikes. This image here shows we have about 3 or 4 places that we stop in where we will offer the guests the option of hiking inland. This one particular image is about a 5K hike inland where we build these bamboo rafts. We call it our rafting expedition. We build our own bamboo rafts with close guidance from the locals, and we make our rafts and then we paddle or drift downstream for an hour and a half. It's quite a zen experience. For those clients that are too old or they don't really want to hike in, we can also helicopter them in. So we have a lot of amazing, how do I say, custom-made, raw activities. This is something that, this is the beauty of being in Papua New Guinea, is that, and what I said before is that it's for the adventurous. Okay, moving on. For the vessels that are looking for something different than just being at sea, we can also offer some river cruising. So if you're coming from Indonesia or into PNG and going towards Australia, Solomons, whatever, or if you're going the other way and you're traveling east to west, I always promote a stop in at the Sepik River. The Sepik River is, you know, in Papua New Guinea, I always say there's 3 types of cultures. There's the people at the islands, then there's the people in the highlands, in the mountains, and then there's the river people. The river people we can see on the Sepik, and if you're into anthropology, then it just gives a bit more diversity, slower pace of life, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. Now, on the highlands, as I said before, and this is an onshore excursion, for those who are keen and would like to get and see the true sort of iconic tribes of Papua New Guinea, and I think many people, when they think of PNG, like I said, they think of the iconic tribes. I strongly recommend leaving the vessel for 2 or 3 nights, flying inland and seeing something that will really wow you, and that is the highlands of Papua New Guinea. These last 2 slides, what makes them so special is that they're not just, Papua New Guinea is a cultural mecca, as I said. These are tribes and cultures that are practicing these rituals, not just to perform for the guests, but they're doing it because they still practice them. It's real and it's raw. In my lifetime, I'm watching them vanish. And you have a chance in this country to see something really unique, which is its people. And that probably brings me to the last part of why I feel so passionate about my country, is that if you come to see Papua New Guinea, you might have an amazing dive experience. You might climb an amazing volcano. You might, you know, see an amazing wreck or whatever it is. But the true beauty of the country, and this is something that Mark touched on in New Zealand and also Trent in Australia, is that it's the people. Now, these slides that you're looking at now, this particular one, it was just a couple of crew members waiting while I went hiking inland with the guests. You know, the thing that I think you walk away from with this country, no matter what you come looking for, is humanity. And you see it everywhere. You don't see it at a cultural performance. You see it when you're trying to get your boat, your tender back to the boat. You see it here when you're sitting, waiting for your guests to return from a hike and you're interacting with children. And there's something incredibly humbling about that. And it's probably the thing that I'm proudest of, and the thing that I think, no matter who you are and no matter what you come looking for, it will be the thing that you walk away from and having affected you the most. So that's me done for PNG. I can get into the nuts and bolts of, you know, what we can do, where you can clear in, price of fuel, all that stuff. But we can do that in the Q&A. I just want to tell you how awesome my country is. So that's me. Good night. Thank you.